Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. I am Rufus Opus. I am here today to talk to you about, what am I going to talk to you about? Zeus the Middle. We've talked before about Zeus the Head, Zeus the Middle, and Zeus the All in All. Today we're going to be talking about Zeus the Middle in particular. This is all based on the Vanity manuscript interpretation of the Orphic Mysteries of like around the 5th century BC, I believe it was, 450 BC. There was a manuscript written that was a commentary on the Orphic initiations. Based on that interpretation and that instruction from that guy that was doing this commentary on the initiation, I've sort of gotten this idea and this understanding. It mirrors basic Illuminism from Robert Anton Wilson, if you're familiar with the Illuminati. But basically, it's the idea that everything is a manifestation of this one source, and it's named Zeus, but it's not necessarily Zeus the Olympian king, but that's a good name for what we're talking about. So Zeus the Head is the source of all. Zeus the Middle, it then is like after the source manifests everything, it produces everything in the middle, and that's everything we're going to be talking about today. And then Zeus the All in All is the third part of that, and that's Zeus, the experienced reality. So it's basically a cosmology of panentheism. It's an emergent consciousness that is both the creator deity and also that which inhabits everything. I present this as a cosmology because it's a framework for the great work that makes the instructions that we receive from our 17th century manuscripts, from our traditional mystery initiations, from our experiences with the spirits as human beings incarnate. You know, when we conjure the spirits, we all have pretty consistent results and very similar interactions with the spirits, right? So we're all kind of doing the same thing in general or in specific, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about that, I guess. And let's see, what was the other thing I want to talk about? So I want to talk about, of course, here it is. Haha. Okay, yes, money. Please do check out the links down below in the description. There are links to my monetization things. Please do check them out. It is going to be hopefully my retirement plan, and if everything works out and I'm a multi-billionaire, of course everything is going to be something that works out for everybody. But eventually, you know, rising tides raise all ships. So if you like what I'm doing, if you think that it's worthwhile and valuable, please do continue to support me financially, because eventually I do want to just focus on spreading the light, as it were. But I can't do that without money. So that's it for money talk. Links in the description. Enough of that shit. Hate that part, but it is necessary, so whatever. Okay, so we were talking about Illuminism and the source of all, and we were talking about where did it go? Here it is. Zeus, the source, Zeus the Head, Zeus the Middle, Zeus the All in All, that is revealed through the Vanity manuscript, one of the Orphic Mystery traditions. These Orphic Mystery traditions were performed and presented by these initiatory troops, as it were. They were these traveling initiatory groups. The Mysti were a sample of them, a type. If you've read anything about the Mysti in the Orphic times, I guess, anywhere between like 800 BC and around 3rd, 4th century. Sometimes I think there was still some Orphic stuff going on around then, AD, I'm not sure, but the highlight was around 500 BC, in my opinion. Other people have different opinions, whatever. I'm not right about everything. I just have my experiences, and I just go on it. But so the Orphic Mystery tradition that this Vanity manuscript is revealing or referencing was something that involved, we know from the context clues, the revelation of Zeus as our source of all and the all in all. And if you look at other texts from the time, we have an inscription where it says Zeus is he in whom we live and move and have our being. That's from one of the descriptions of Zeus. He's referred to as the air, the wind. He's different philosophers call him the wind because we move through him. In the other Orphic hymn to Zeus from the it's a separate Orphic tradition than the one that the Vanity manuscript came from, but it's a more traditional Orphic hymn. But the Orphic hymn to Zeus refers to him as the root of all, the source of all, and that there's like 2 lines in the Taylor translation that refer to him, and it basically refers to him being the source of all the gods and goddesses and experienced reality. And that touches back on this Orphic mystery. And that mystery that is revealed during their initiatory rite is that Zeus, and I'm going to go and just tell you what the mystery is because it's in all the texts. It's been revealed the whole time. The point of the initiatory experience is to experience this, what I'm going to tell you. You experience it in real life. You know, it's not just Josh telling you about it on the internet and you're seeing it on YouTube or whatever. It's an experience, a personal gnosis of God that you receive during this initiatory experience. And if I can fucking figure this shit out and I can make it happen for you, goddamn hell yeah, I'm going to do it. But I've had it happen for myself with certain preparations and programming, if you will, different kinds of studies and meditations, and I went on a fast going into it and all this stuff. So I've got a system that does create a trance state. It's very similar to other systems that create trance states and can create a spiritual experience with the proper whatevers. We're going to try to turn that into something that is personally experienceable for people, so that you can understand your personal connection to everything else. And if you've ever had that experience, there's drugs that do it for you. There's deep meditation. There was a study done between Carmelite nuns and Tibetan monks, and they would both meditate and pray. And the Carmelite monks and the Tibetan monks are monitoring their brains during the prayer and the meditation, and they the same parts of their brain shut down. The amygdala would silence itself when they reached a point of where they subjectively felt unified with their source in their meditation or their prayers. No matter which path they used to get there, their brains had the same chemicals, the same functionality was going on, and the prayerful people, the meditators, the magicians, hopefully, are experiencing the same things, right? They're experiencing a connection to the other. The hippocampus shuts down. The part of the brain that insists that you are not part of the chair you're sitting on, that part of the brain shuts down. And in that meditative state, when you're deep trance hypnosis, deep meditative place, you become one with everything, and you experience that in your brain pan as if that's really what you're experiencing. Now, drugs peel away this separate, and when you do that, you lose your ego, you lose your sense of your body, you lose your sense of your mind, you lose your trauma, you lose your history, you lose your anger, you lose your resentment about being born in the first freaking place. You lose all that stuff, and you dissolve back into this everythingness, and you're like, for a moment, you cease to be you, and the entire weight of your being is gone, and it's an incredible experience. And telling you about it is key because it helps program you to receive this experience when you do the meditation, when you do if you ever do a visualization where you walk yourself through that experience that I just described. Do that. You experience something that's incredible and mind-shifting, and it reframes your experience. Your brain cells soften. The synapses in your brain soften because chemicals are released when you reach that point where your amygdala and your hippocampus are in silence. You get there's neurotransmitters and stuff that get released that return your brain cells to a softer state that makes it more conducive to learning, right? microdosing LSD, or not LSD, but microdosing psilocybin is supposed to do that to you. I mean, they've treated brain cells and I've seen it happen, but this can be achieved through trance states. It can be achieved through conjurations. Intense experiences of potent spirits in the room with you are going to create mental states that alter your perceptions and alter your experiences. You can connect to this all thing in a number of different ways. Anyway, I'm not making this crap up, and it's not really a mystery. This is a mystery that the mysteries have been teaching forever. That's the mystery. The mystery of magic is we are one thing. That's it. That's the big clue, you guys. That's why all the things are like, be kind to each other, because you're hurting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. We hit ourselves all the time. And you're not going to listen to me. I don't listen to me. I do the bad things, but I'm supposed to be doing the good things, just like the rest of us. I'm not like perfect or anything. It's just part of the whole experience. We try to do better. Hopefully we're helping everything get better for everybody, not just for ourselves, but for that spark of divinity within us. Ultimately, I believe that when you understand where you are in relation to the rest of the all thing, it creates a moment where your life itself becomes an act of worship, if you will, of that eternal God or source or whatever that is manifest as all these things. But anyway, that's the framework that we're approaching this with right now. In the Dervani manuscript, it talks about how after the unity became the unity, and it talks about how Zeus, the king of Olympus, that came out of the Hesiod's theomachy or whatever, the beginning of time and all that. That Zeus consumed the phallus of Uranus and the Fascinus, the source of everything, the powerful generative force that Gaia created to be able to emanate existence. That force was consumed by the Zeus, who was the king of Olympus, the Olympian king. He consumed it, and in that moment became the demiurge, destroyed the universe, consumed it back into himself, and regurgitated it, emanated it, expanded himself into the new universe. He became chaos, and we have the history of what happened now. We have basically the chaos emerged, and we got Gaia, and we got Erebos, necessity, and night. Dread night emerged out of this chaos, and Gaia created Uranus, and we have the history of what happened, and our mythology and our lore, our whatever. If you're a Christian, your lore is all about the spirit of God hovered over the waters and spoke and breathed across in the blood and whatever. That's your lore. Your lore informs your practice, right? Whatever. Anyway, we have this history of how it all emanated, right? And how it all became what we experience now and how we experience it all together. And in the Dervani manuscript, it says the head was the source, and that's the demiurge that's revealing everything as we experience it and also experiencing it. And then in between everything, this stuff, in between us and that invisible stuff in our head, like, I'm going to think for a second. I promise I was thinking, and I thought, I promise I am thinking. I was thinking, can't prove it, but our thoughts are what become our actions, our words. So we know that invisible, that we can't see or prove happening, is something that we can speak into being and experience, right? So this what the fuck? Bob Smith. Anyway, I'll have to delete that. What the hell, man? I'm gonna add to block list and restream chat, and yes, good lord. That was awful. Anyway, somebody has some things to say. I am a false messiah, apparently. I'm not actually a messiah. I'm just telling you what I experience of the universe, and the light that I've experienced has made this dark time that I live in a little easier to get through, and I'm shining that little light of mine because I think it's useful. Hopefully, that won't be something that happens too often. Good lord. That's terrible. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the middle part of that emanation. So the Dravani manuscript talks about how this invisible light manifests into this experienced reality through the medium of the middle, right? So there's Zeus the head, and then there's Zeus Pantocrator, Zeus the all in all, and in between that is this middle layer, right? So let me turn on a different image here. So it's not just the one thing, it's the many things, right? And yeah, I wonder if I can make that. There we go. Yeah, all right. So these are all pictures of spirits that'll hopefully keep you entertained, and the emanation of spirits as I understand it and how we contact them and whatnot. So, oh, you know what? This is, I'm going to perhaps stop that. Sorry. There we go. Okay. All right. So anyway, the spiritual world that we live in and that we work with. This invisible layer in between where our thoughts are and this physical layer that we experience things, the physical realm is created, maintained, manifested, and categorized by these invisible spirits. Now, let's take a look at the Corpus Hermeticum. In the Corpus Hermeticum, we have the 7 spheres of the I think I actually have a picture of that in here. The 7 spheres of the planets. Here we go. So there's the 7 spheres of the planets, and each of the 7 spheres has an intelligence assigned to it, and each of the intelligences have all these spirits underneath that are manifesting our experienced reality, right? So these invisible spirits, the 7 spirits of the Hermetic text, the Corpus Hermeticum, they give us a way of classifying the different energies and forces that go into our daily experience. And it gives us a way of contacting the spirits of Saturn, the spirits of Jupiter, of Mars, to address those social and personal internal aspects of our experience with the rest of the all thing. Right? So if you look at what Mars rules over war. War is not something that can be experienced. You can point to where war is happening, but war is an idea, it's a concept, it's an emotion, it's an activity, it's a real life thing, it's action, it's people killing each other. But individual to individual, war is not. It's not. You know what I mean? Like, I don't war on other people unless I'm being super dramatic, right? Individuals don't war, individuals fight, right? So the whole, let's see, J.R. Bob Dobbs told us the X day was on July 5th, 96. I don't understand exactly where you're going with that, but that wasn't what I was, that's a different kind of illuminism. Today I'm talking about the unmanifest that manifests as the spirits that we contact through our magical practices, right? So the actual intelligences of these spheres, you know, are who we can work with as magicians to influence and impact those forces of creation that they materialize. So, like, in the way that Mars is not just war, right? And it's not just this concept of war or this idea of war or this backdrop of war or the activities of war. Mars is also discipline and militaristic activities, all the things in society that manifest as martial, you know, that have a flavor of Mars to them, either of iron or of you know, those martial aspects, or the things of Jupiter that have the Jupiterian aspects of wealth and robustness. You know, these are all immaterial aspects of existence, right, that take place in our social lives that are ruled over by these deities, right? But they are the creators of this experience that's happening against the backdrop of our physical reality. So the Pantocrator is the screen. It's the trees, it's the rocks, it's the air that we breathe, it's the chair I'm sitting in that squeaks, it's everything. It's my body. It's the cells that we inhabit, that we work through, right? We're in a communal group of organized cells that are agreeing to do things based on what we think at them, right? Anyway, all that is the Pantocrator. That's the external all in all. Our experience of it is largely not real. War is stuff that humans do with each other. Favor, wealth, prosperity. Like, you can argue that there's prosperity in nature naturally, but most of the things that these gods and these spirits influence are social constructs that come from being a human being against the backdrop. It's all within that middle. It's not the source, and it's not the extruded reality. It's all that invisible bullshit that's manifesting in between us, our tribe, our culture, our society, our political affiliations, all those things are in between what we experience through our senses and what we create against that backdrop. And everything that we create against that backdrop, that's all the Vanity Fair. Like, every single bit of it. None of it's real. Not one bit of all this crap is real. It's all just exchange of made up goods and services. Right? What did I start the show with? I need money. I don't need money. I mean, come on, I live in the Pacific Northwest. I can sleep outside and eat out of the stream. It's not very healthy these days, but this place is prosperity upon prosperity, infinite prosperity. During the Ice Age, the backdrop that I live in is beautiful. The politics, the people that control the land, the people that control who can go on the land and all that, ugly. It's crappy. And what do we do to get around that? We use our invisible forces to help manipulate that. Spirits of Jupiter to give me wealth and favor and honor and prestige amongst the other members of the Vanity Fair, so that I can maybe get some of this backdrop for myself and have a little bit of authority and autonomy on it. That's all I want, is a piece of it that's mine, that I can do what I want and help other people, because it's a dark time that we're heading into, and I think a little bit of light is going to help, and we're going to need a place to do that from, So I kind of feel like I've always felt like this was what I wanted to do, and now I can do it. But that whole thing I'm arguing for, I'm arguing with the rest of the universe. My argument is, I need this to be able to have a good time. That's my argument, and in the way that I want to. And the universe can argue back, but I'm using my invisible friends, but it's all taking place within this Vanity Fair. Trump and Biden, Vanity Fair, okay? Putin, all that stuff. We could live differently if we wanted to. We have the technology, but because of money and ideas, we don't do that. That's the reality of it. And practically speaking, the fair controls more of our life than we do, for sure. Operating within the fair is bullshit, but it's the reality of it. So anyway, I'm not very happy with the Vanity Fair, but I mean, whatever, it is what it is. So yeah, we get all kinds of spirits and stuff that we work with, and as magicians, we get to conjure these spirits, right, and influence the Vanity Fair from behind the scenes, because we aren't fighting with gravity to get wealthy. Okay, we aren't fighting with the climate change for money or prestige or likes on Facebook, right? Not related. Wildfires in California, the only relationship that has to Facebook is the feelings that you feel when you read about them. Your feelings are the only real part of your life. All of us. It's all the Vanity Fair, right? And our feelings are this invisible world. They're not real, right? I mean, they have a real experience. They impact our cells at a cellular level, but they're relative to chemicals, they're relative to environmental factors, they're relative to ideas that we might be thinking about distantly, but they're not real in the same way that, like, I don't know, the reality that I'm living my life to experience is real, right? It's a different kind of reality. It's an emotional reality that feels important in the moment, but it's not as important as my long-term plans or my daily income or my place in society. All that stuff comes before how or at least it contributes to my ranking of my emotional state, right? Emotions are part of that invisible world that factors into our actual experience, but secondary to it, right? I mean, in relationship to it. They influence if they're also influenced, and you can't rely on them because they're fickle. They change in the same way that like anything else changes, right? It's not reliable. I don't remember exactly where I was going with all of that, but the whole thing is that we conjure these spirits, right? These seven spheres or seven spirits of the spheres to impact this Vanity Fair standing, right? And it's largely an absurd fucking joke, right? It's a prank that's gone way out of control, and it hurts people, and we're dumb like that, and we can't stop ourselves. And I don't know why. I wish that I was better at controlling my own self and not harming people, but I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person, and I say mean things, and I wish ill upon other parts of us that probably don't deserve it, and it's self-harm in its own way. And it's I mean, I don't know how to fix all of it, but I try to do better personally. I don't know. That's the great work, right? But anyway, these spirits that we work with, they're as real as our emotions. They're as real as our sense of self. When this body dies, you might read what I wrote or watch these videos, but you're not going to know what went on in my head. You're not going to have any idea what my experience of my life was. Nobody will. You guys don't appreciate what it's like to be me, Nobody appreciates what it's like to be you. Nobody can. We only live for ourselves. Nobody else can ever understand it the way I do, right? It is what it is, right? These invisible spirits are my friends about my experience of everything else and your bullshit and my bullshit and how it interacts with our shared bullshit, right? That's what that's all about, right? So our relationship with these spirits, it's part of that invisible layer, right? And they need us to interact with this material world in the same way that we need them, because they only impact, or not only, but they primarily impact the Vanity Fair, right? I'm not talking about the elementals. I'm not talking about you go up to Mount Kilauea and it's not like that. It's very little social impact other than the raw impact on society when the earth changes, right? That's different. It's like climate change spirits are not like the spirits of the air that bring you the secrets of your secret lovers, whatever bullshit. That spirit of the air is not like the actual jet stream shifting down to become what they call it, an atmospheric river, because our jet stream screwed it up. Yeah, we'll just pretend like that's not going on. But anyway, different kinds of aerial spirits, right? I mean, they're still the same, but in a very metaphorical way, right? So the Zeus the Middle, it rules the metaphorical, or it represents the metaphorical spiritual aspects of things, and it gives us a system of interacting with them and conjuring them. It seems like for human beings, the best way to contact them is through their names and their seals, right? And you get a name and you get a seal with your system and your lore for all the spirits that rule over all the different aspects of our experiences in the middle world, the Vanity Fair, against the backdrop of the Pantocrator. So, let's see. Do these spirits actually exist, or do we think they exist and it somehow shifts the way we think about things? How could we go about proving their existence? I know that spirits are real, and in and as much as I am real, because when I call on the spirits and I do magic and I tell the spirits to do what I want them to do, things happen as if spirits were out there doing things and making things happen that I asked to happen. And I find out about it later, and I don't have any way of knowing that, right? I just know that when I tell a spirit a thing, I experience the experience. And I find out later that there were a series of coincidences or very lucky natural events that seemingly make sense. Like I happened to say something nice to somebody on the way to work, and they ended up being polite to my boss who I got kudos, and I ended up getting an award at work because kudos are an app that I helped build that rewards people for being nice at work, right? And I got a bonus inadvertently because I was nice to somebody else outside of my department who mentioned it to my boss, and I ended up getting an award, right? That's the kind of weird thing that happens when you're just kind of like in tune with things. And I don't mean that in like I'm in tune with the universe because I get high a lot, because I get high a lot and I'm in tune with the universe. But I do a lot of work too, right? I do conjurations, I do meditations, the whole connection to this middle world and our brothers and sisters in the spiritual world comes from familiarity with them. It comes from communication with them. It comes from doing the magic. You know, all these things I'm doing here, all the things I'm doing for money and all that stuff, it's really literally just so I can sit here today and tell people to do magic. That's really all I want to do, is tell people that we are magicians. We can do magic. We can call on these invisible spirits by their names and their seals using these rules, and we can create a different world for ourselves and everything else, because most of it's all in our head anyway. And we have magicians. We have visible friends that come when we call them and build our lives for us the way we ask them to. And it's not 100%, and it's not perfect every time, you know? And you just got to do it again. And you learn. And you're always the reason it doesn't work. You're always the thing that missed the opportunity. You're always the person who hasn't done the inner growth work enough to be able to escape recreating the childhood traumas that you had never faced, right? You know, we are our biggest problems. We're the biggest obstacles to enjoying our experiences in our daily life, right? So, when it goes back to proving their existence, Crowley said success is your proof, right? If you're getting what you ask for and it looks like what you believe explains it, really explains it, if it doesn't hurt anyone, go for it. You know, if you believe something that's harming other people, or you're obviously delusional and it's threatening your family and it's threatening your job and it's threatening your career, you know, you're crazy. You need help. Okay? But if you're not hurting anybody and you talk to your invisible friends and it makes you feel better and somehow life goes your way and you can't really explain it, but whatever, you know, you're not any crazier than a Christian praying to Jesus for, you know, a little bit of tooth pain relief, you know, healing of your dog's kidneys. Okay, you're not any different than them, and they're not any different than you, and you're not any crazier than them, and chances are you're better educated and you have a better life because you've got more money, because your invisible friends are putting more money in your life. And when you have more money, you realize right away that you have to be smarter with it and you have to do basic math. And once you start doing basic math, you can put 2 and 2 together and the headlines just look ridiculous, and you realize that you're just sitting here in Vanity Fair. And most of the crap that you thought was important is less so than you might imagine. And you spend more time with your invisible friends because they're a lot more fun. They're a lot more interesting. They're a lot more exciting, for sure, than going to work is, for example. And they're everywhere, you know, they're everywhere. So literally all you have to do is close your eyes, and you're living in a universe full of spirits, right? So I'm going to bring up Jake Stratton Kent. I hate when other people do it, but when I do it, it's okay. But one of the things that I bring him up kind of to lend a little bit of weight to my otherwise sort of crazy chaos magic-ish ways. We were talking about how the spirit world behaves as if when you start getting into conjure magic, the spirits that you're working with are local. And it's local spirits who respond to the names and the seals that you use to conjure. So when I conjure Pan, my local spirit that relates to Pan is the one that I get. So when I'm conjuring Pan, it's not going to be necessarily the same Pan that Jake Stratton Kent is conjuring in England. I'm conjuring the North American Pan. And we got into the conversations about North American gods and cultural interpretations of entities, and how regardless across time, people's magic works. The jinn, the angels, the demons, the ancestors, the timing of the astrological stars, the symbolism. It works. It works if you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew. It works. It works if you're a pagan. Why does it work? Why does magic always work? Why does it work when people believe? Why does the stupid secret work? Why does the Kabbalion solve problems for people? Why does manifestation think it until you can believe it and then experience it and see it? Why does that work? Why do affirmations work? Why is it when you say something out loud, the universe struggles to make it happen for you in your daily life? I don't know, maybe because we're made in the image of God, and that's how gods create things, maybe. I don't know. Maybe because we're magicians and our God is the God of words and writing and symbol and the encasement of thought in communicable symbolism, images. Maybe because it's through the communication of invisible thought that we're able to establish a world that's capable of reaching to the stars. And maybe that's as far as we get. Maybe this is it. Whatever. I don't care. I think it's beautiful. I think it's lovely out there, and it's wonderful. And what we do with ourselves inside, with our Lord, our gods, our spirits, our connection with the universe, our connection with the divine, empowers and purifies and cleanses everything else. I wanted to talk about the role of the spirits in the great work. All of my initiations came from the holiest angels of the planetary powers, right? I conjured the archangels of the planets. I conjured them in the names of their planets with just EL at the end because I thought that was super pure. Really pure magic. But these intelligences, they initiated me. They took me under their wings, and they showed me things about the forces that they represented and how they manifest in society and how to manipulate that as a magician with my magical friends. They showed me how my heart was hurt as a child, and that twisted the way I was able to interpret and receive and interact with these spiritual forces. These angels, these spirits took me on visual journeys that looked like I was just sitting there meditating, just having I could be higher than shit and just like, oh my God, tears running down my face like I'm some kind of crazy person. And I was going through all kinds of mental stuff. It wasn't fun. It wasn't great, but I came out of it and it was worth it. And I feel better. I'm having a much better time in life. I have a rich, full experience of my daily existence that is undeniably better quality than it was for years, a long time. I was not happy because I didn't understand why everything was going the way it was, and what my role was in it, and what kind of control I had over it, or how to get that control. These invisible spirits are your key to empowerment. They make you more efficient. They make you opportunities. They make you aware of opportunities in this Vanity Fair to get rich. They bring things your way. They bless your friends so your friends can bless you. They bless your enemies so that they don't know what to do. They're with you. They're with you, and they're for you, and they're listening to you. Why is it that everybody who's complaining has so much to complain about? I don't know. Why is Rufus so positive all the time? I don't know. Why doesn't he ever say shit about anybody anymore? They say it for themselves, right? So, yeah, you have to interact with them for them to be able to interact with you. They only exist for this Vanity Fair, most of them, and the ones that don't, you've got other reasons to work with them. And don't try to use a spirit of actual stone to influence something of, it's not the same. I mean, there's overlap, but anyway, I don't want to say that crystals shouldn't be used for social situations, so that's stupid. Anyway, what I mean is don't try to use, I don't know how to put it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Never mind, forget it. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. That's basically it for what I had to say about the middle part. I want to also stress that we are the middle, right? It's you and it's me. We're the middle part. There's the as above, so below triangle thing. I don't know if I have a picture of it, but the hexagram. It's a hexagram. Oh, that's my kids. And anyway, but the hexagram it's like two triangles overlapping, one pointing up, one pointing down. We're the fulcrum of the above and the below. Okay, it's more like an hourglass. Okay, the above is above, and the below is the material world where we experience it. The above is the mind, the head. We are the middle. It's through our actions that the spirits that we listen to, that the morals that we feel like represent our directions, that our gods that we worship, that are all the invisible influences that we tap into as magicians, we manifest that through our life. We make the choices to make our magic real in our life. We express our transformation to our peers. We encourage our coworkers to do better. We show them what's wrong with what they're doing because we see it, because we have this third eye that's open and we can see what the fuck is going on with shit. We help our coworkers who can't see it. We bring light to the world, and we do that shit because we are where the invisible is made material, through our choices, our actions, and our words. And as much as you want to do with your choices and your words, there's a spirit there to fucking help you with it. All you have to do is take more, and it takes time, it takes integration, it takes wisdom, it takes pain, it takes suffering, it takes healing, and it takes transformation, and it takes a process called the great work to go through. But when you get it, and it's yours to do with as you see fit, and it's ours to use to create as much light as we want, because that's us. We're where the rubber meets the road. We're the manifestation of the all thing in the material world around us, so that we can experience it and take this experience back home with us when we die. That's where we go. We go back into it, and we get to take back everything we did because it's ours, and that's it. That's what we get, is what we do. We get what we do, and that's it forever. And that's it forever. And it's eternity, it's forever, but that's it. So do what you want, do as much as you want. If you want to wake up in the morning and look at Facebook and feel about what you look at, and feel and think, talk, feel, Go for it. That's your experience. That's what you're taking home with you. Whatever. That's your choice. It's your life. It's your life. You're doing it. You're doing the manifestation of God as you see fit every minute, right? That's your choice. That's your life. That's what we do, right? We do as much as we can or as little as we can, as much as we want or as little as we want. And there's obstacles, and it's not fair, and it's unjust. It's not easy. Work. It's the great work to do the will of God as you see fit, because you're, what is it? I'm not making this up. This is Agrippa. I ain't talking out my ass. This is, where is it? Turn this off. And, here it is. Know thyself. Know thyself. When you know yourself, when you accomplish the great work, whosoever shall know themselves shall know all things in themselves, especially they shall know God, according to whose image they were made. I didn't say it. Agrippa said it. Okay, and Agrippa's just saying what the Neoplatonists said. That's what the Corpus Hermeticum says. It's what the Vanity text implies. It's what we experience in our day-to-day lives. Every one of us. It's our lives. It's real experience. What we think about, we do, we manifest it. Anyway, and we're magicians, right? So we can talk into our coworkers in the invisible world. We can have whatever relationship with them our system requires. We can bring offerings. We can be obedient. We can make pacts. We can belong to the most powerful magician religion, whatever there is. We can be Cyprianists. We can be Catholics. We can be light and darknesses. We can be pagans. We can be atheists. I don't know. Illuminists. What? I don't even know what I am. I don't even know. I'm a panentheist, I guess. I'm a solipsist. Anyway, narcissist. Yes, I could be that. Anyway, thanks a lot, you guys. That's what I had to say about Zeus the Middle. Next week is... What's next week? I think next week is a members-only class. No. Members only class is the 21st. Next week is the struggle is real. What are we fighting? What are we fighting? Paul talks about how in the Bible we struggle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits in high places and powers and principalities. And I wanted to talk about in the great work, what is it that our daily struggle is, and what it is as magicians who are performing the great work, what our struggle is and what we're supposed to be fighting against, and how we fight that, what our tools are, what our weapons are, and our methods of victory. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon. I will talk to you later.